Hi, today is Wednesday, hump day, right? August 20th, 2025. So we still have 3 more days to go until the rest time, the TGIF. Today, we are going to read several articles to practice English, right? Um, as always, the money matters, and as we need to prepare for our time after retirement, money comes into the huge landscape, and we should be well prepared for our comfortable retirement with a lot of money on our side. And let's learn more about how Nvidia stock will fare, because I am investing huge amount of money in the Korean domestic stock exchange, which I have to cash in on later. This article is from Business Insider, and the title is Why One Analyst Thinks Nvidia Could Double Its Market Cap to $9 trillion by the end of the decade, right? By the end of the decade, not by the end of this year, by Jennifer Soar, August 19th, 2025. So this article was from yesterday. Nvidia could reach a $9 trillion valuation by 2030, according to an analyst at Melius Research. That's because the chip giant is on track to capture a big part of the AI infrastructure market. Melius thinks the firm could raise its annual revenue to around $5 billion by the end of the decade. The world's most valuable company could be on its way to a $9 trillion valuation in the next 5 years. Yeah, not this year, but next 5 years. Ben Rates, an analyst at Melius Research, thinks Nvidia could notch a $9 trillion market cap by the end of the decade. The chip giant is poised to nab a big share of the overall demand for AI infrastructure, Wright said in a video presentation to clients on Monday. That could potentially take the company's annual revenue to $600 billion by 2030, supporting the massive valuation target per Melius's estimates. We think the most important thing for long-term investors is to look at the power, Rates added. Power is the biggest constraint. There are several moving parts to Rates' thesis. One, AI energy demand will keep growing. Gigawatt energy demand stemming from AI is on track to post a 30% compounded annual growth rate per year through the end of the decade, Rates said, citing figures from McKinsey. That implies AI workload demand hitting 156 gigawatts by the end of 2030. Business Insider today. Get our newsletter for the inside scoop on today's big stories. Each gigawatt of demand could lead to $40 billion to $50 billion in revenue opportunity for Nvidia. That's according to estimates the company has shared with investors. But when accounting for inflation and other factors, revenue opportunity for Nvidia could increase to as much as $60 billion through the end of the decade, Rates speculated. Assuming that energy demand grows at a 30% pace, that implies Nvidia's total annual revenue opportunity rising to around $2 trillion by 2030, Reuters said. Nvidia will capture a significant share of the AI infrastructure market. Nvidia is already partnering with data center companies and other hyperscalers to capture some of the AI infrastructure market, Reuters said. What does that mean? That means they are becoming an infrastructure player and they should have meaningful share of the AI workload build out, he said. Build out, right? Build out. Not build up, build out. Assuming that Nvidia captures 30% of the market, that implies the chipmaker pulling in around $600 billion in annual revenue by the end of the decade. That supports a $9 trillion valuation for the company, Reuters said, using an annual earnings multiple of 15 to base his calculations. Annual earnings multiple of 15. Wow, that's amazing. Nvidia became the first company to hit a $4 trillion valuation in July. Reuters estimated valuation implies that the company will more than double its market cap in the next 5 years. Nvidia's stock performance year to date. Wow, so April this year, right, it was very low and suddenly it's very high, right, almost doubled its value. That's amazing. Now, I'm not saying we get there by any given year, but at the end of the decade, it does look possible, he added. There's one caveat. Reuters estimates hinge on players in the industry investing to support the demand for AI energy. It will require around $5 trillion to unleash the energy demand by his demand he outlines by 2030. Can the industry invest that $5 trillion in order to release those gigawatts to Nvidia? Can be the strategic vendor with $600 billion in revenue by the end of the decade? We think power is the one thing we've got to ask Jebsen on the call for long-term investors, he said. Investors are waiting for Nvidia to report earnings for the second quarter next Wednesday after the closing bell. Yeah, not before the closing bell, but after the closing bell. So it has something to do with energy demand and so on. Nothing particular. It's just prediction, right? From the Melius Research Center. Well, that's it. Have a great Wednesday. Bye-bye.